So today we're going to be talking about the monarch butterfly. The scientific name is Danaus plexibus for this organism. It is an insect, a part of the Nymphalidae family. It's in the kingdom Animalia, in the phylum Arthropoda, and in the class Insecta, obviously because it's an insect. Now, it is very easy to spot a monarch butterfly in the spring because of their migration habit. I'm sure most people that live in the Los Angeles area have seen thousands of monarch butterflies fly south for the winter. This goes on for one day, hours, not just like one flyby. It goes on for hours. And I'm sure that's when we think monarch butterfly. But that's not the only way to spot a monarch butterfly. As you can see here, they have a beautiful reddish orange bright color to their wings. They have black lines throughout their wings that you can see here that kind of look like veins. They have a black border outside of their wings with white little spots as well. And what's really cool is that you can actually tell which one is female and which one is male. We can see here that the male has thicker veins than the female. Female has just very thin lines going through them. Right here, like this is very thick compared to the female one. And another significant way is if you can't tell by the veins, that the females on both wings on the little bottom here, kind of towards the inside, there's these black dots. Now, as you can see, the males don't have that. They have a very smooth, straight lines, but you can definitely tell it's a female if you see these black spots on their wings. But both the males and the females, when they extend their wings, are about 4 inches long, which is actually very long, which is really cool. Now, the monarch butterfly first came to be about 2 million years ago. It is said to be originated from areas like Central America, the Caribbean islands, and the northern part of South America, which are very tropical, warm climates. Which is why we'll talk later that the monarch migrates to Mexico because of the environmental changes in the climate. And we know that these areas that I just mentioned, Central America, Caribbean islands, they're very warm, they're very tropical. So we'll see that come into factor later. Now let's jump straight into the reason why monarch butterflies are so unique. And this is because of migration. The definition of migration is the seasonal movement of animals from one region to another. As you can see here, the monarch travels up to the northeast area of the United States, kind of near Canada, and all the way back down to Mexico, this bottom area right here. For each trip, so you can see the spring path is in orange and the fall path is in purple. So for each trip, they travel between 1,200 to 2,800 miles. Each trip, each way. And probably even more. Part of the reason that the migration of the monarch butterflies is so fascinating is because it's an adaptation. So, the monarch butterfly only lives for about 2 to 6 weeks before it dies. Meaning that this whole year-round journey takes about 4 to 5 generations to complete. In the spring, the butterfly starts its journey to the northeast area, as you can see in orange. And although each generation flies, mates, and lays egg, during this spring journey path, during this time, the special generation of eggs are produced and laid that are called the super generation. This is the generation that will make the journey back from the northeast to Mexico for the winter for hibernation. So this purple path, this is made by one generation, which is this super generation. So, meaning in the orange right here is when the other 3 to 4 generations occur. Now, another reason why it's called the super generation is because since they do that one path alone, we know that takes about a few months. It means that they live up to 8 times longer than the average monarch. And the reason the monarch migrates is purely for survival. It's an adaptation made for survival. The monarch cannot survive in very cold, practically freezing climates that we see happen in the northeast area of the United States. We know that, a lot of snow comes down in the winter, a lot of blizzards happen, the flowers, the environment begins, like the dirt, it all begins to die because it's so cold. There's nothing being produced for the butterflies. So they need to survive. They thrive in warmer climates, and that's why they make that journey back to Mexico, to those higher altitudes where it's a lot warmer for them and for them to survive. So they have another adaptation called the circadian clock, which is located in their antennas, and it's called the circannual clock. They're actually able to sense the days getting shorter and the climate getting colder, and that's when they know they must start to make their journey back to central Mexico for those higher altitude areas, which are a lot warmer, which have flowers that are still growing and thriving that they can eat nectar from. Their antenna is also able to read the horizontal position of the sun, which helps them navigate their way back to Mexico, right? Because they don't have maps. So they have this adaptation that not only helps them find their path, find their route back to where they need to go, but also to tell them when to make that journey. So they hibernate in Mexico for the winter by surviving off of stored energy. Normally, these butterflies get their food source from flowers, which they eat nectar from. They use a proboscis, which is an elongated snout, to drink the nectar from. And this is another reason why, again, that they're not able to survive in cold climates, because in those cold climates, the flowers die. So that is their food supply. They need those flowers. Now, the migration is natural to the monarch, and it is believed to be an occurrence that's been happening annually for 1 million years or so. And it is now instilled in this insect, in this organism, in the monarch, to migrate. It's a part of their life cycle in a way. And during the spring and summer, these butterflies like to be in an environment with open fields, meadows, and milkweed. Milkweed is essential for the insect because the butterflies produce and lay their eggs on this specific plant, because this plant is the only food that the caterpillars, which is the larvae stage, the second stage in the life cycle, are able to eat from. Caterpillars can only eat from milkweed, and milkweed is located in the Midwest and northeastern part of the US. So I also believe that's part of the reason that they make that journey. So that's another survival tactic, right? They're flying from Mexico to the northeast to get to that milkweed plant to plant their super generation, and then in order to survive, because they can't survive up there again, they make that journey back to Mexico, and this happens every year. Correct? A few other adaptations of the monarch butterfly is going to be their camouflage. So in this very last picture that I have here, the underside of their wings, this lighter yellow, paler area, allows them to blend right in with dried up leaves, right? Because you can tell this outside of their wing, the upper part of their wing, it's a bright color. It's very bright, easy to see from far distances color. But this underside, it blends right in. It's able to camouflage into the area, into the environment around them. And they use this adaptation for when they're sleeping and hiding from predators. I want to go over really quickly the monarch butterfly life cycle, and that has 4 stages. So the first stage you can see in these, we'll go over in these 4 pictures right here. The first stage is going to be the egg, which you can see right here. The second stage is going to be the larvae stage, which is the caterpillar that we all know and are familiar with. The third stage it's called the pupa, which is this little sac right here. The scientific term is chrysalis, and this is when it starts to make its transformation into the last stage, which is the adult butterfly stage. And we can see these four stages happen within 1 year, and that's when a new stage occurs, which then is a new generation. So this is it for the monarch butterfly presentation. You can see here, when they make their journey to Mexico, they cover the areas, they cover the trees, the flowers. They love to be in that warm climate, in those, all these trees areas, and it looks crazy. You can tell the difference here. This is their underside where they're able to blend. They look like a tree. If you didn't see these orange parts, you would think they're a part of the tree, and that's a prime example of how they hide away from their predators. The monarch butterfly is truly an amazing insect. It does such a huge trip, a huge journey. It is very interesting to go over. So this is all for the presentation today. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.